We're being recorded. My name is Dr. Sameh Jalil, and this is EA300B, Children's Literature 2. I take it that most of you have done or have gone through the experience of studying EA300A, which is similar but not identical. So what is it that we're doing in this course? We're doing children's literature. We're focusing on a number of texts. Some of them are picture books, and the others are full-fledged novels, focusing on children, addressing children, and a dash extra. And I'll explain what I mean by that. It's a very interesting course. I've been teaching it for quite some time, and from the testimonies that I have heard and seen and read from students, they enjoy it. It's bi-directional. This is perhaps different from the other courses in the sense that we engage in conversations about the themes and the ideas and the issues that we address in the course. So I'm hopeful that you'll find the experience, inshallah, entertaining and informative and everything in between. I don't know whether you have done any research on and about the course. If you have done any research about the teacher, then obviously I'm getting a bad reputation here. People are flying away from my courses because they are under the impression that perhaps I'm not good enough, or perhaps I don't give them grades, which is not true. I'm just kidding. So how far do you know about EA, or how much do you know about EA300B? If you have done any research, speaking to a colleague who did the course previously, or you did your own research. So let's talk about it. Munira, I would like you to drop your hand unless you want to share with us your concerns about the course, about the teacher, and yeah, let's talk about it. So how much do you know about EA300, me, children's literature too, if any, of course. Yeah, Joyce, go ahead.
Yeah, doctor. I asked my friends who took the course with you or with Dr. Mahsen or Dr. Arwa, and they told me that it's easy somehow, and you focus only on like 4 or 5 stories only, and they're very easy and very like deep because some of them have like different themes about different roles and like voices in the park. Also, there is Peter the Rabbit, if I'm not mistaken, I guess. Yeah,
the tale of
yeah,
Peter
yeah, yeah.
Rabbit.
I
Yes.
think as the amount of stories that we have for this course, it's going to be little somehow,
Yeah,
but they're very
obviously
deep.
it's
Yes,
there is obviously more to judging the quality of a course. There is obviously more to the assessment of a course than just the number of
definitely.
textbooks involved and
Yeah,
stories
but
and novels. Yeah,
they told me
but
they're very deep.
yeah,
Yes,
but you're true. Or you're correct. And when it comes to the amount of stuff that we do in the course, and you compare it to EA300A, obviously EA300B would pale in comparison in terms of the amount. But again, we're talking about depth and breadth here. The number may be not that big, but obviously the scope and the issues are very wide-ranging and very deep, like you're saying, Joyce. Thank you, Joyce, for your insights. Can we have somebody else? Okay. So this is not a question that people normally prepare for, so I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt anyway. Let's have Hind. Hind is a good friend of mine. I think I taught her at one point something, and she was part of the debate. Remember that, yeah, Hind? The
Yes,
debate
I do. I
competition that
do.
we have with the other branches of the
Yes.
university. Yeah, go ahead, Hind.
Yes, was a good experience. So what I generally know about children's literature is that it consists of many written works specifically crafted um, to entertain, to educate, and engage young readers. Um, and it includes a lot of genres like fairy tales and picture books and poetry and novels.
Yeah.
Um, in that it incorporates simple language, usually, and imaginative storytelling, and also relatable themes like friendship and moral lessons and
Yeah.
similar things.
Yeah. What you're saying is correct, and for the most part, yeah, it's about all of that. Perhaps the only new aspect would be that they are not entertaining for children only. Now, uh, adults are taking interest in them because they are, I mean, the new themes that they address are very relatable to everyone. I mean, the idea of migration, the idea of children and how we treat children. Obviously, this does not only concern children, it also concerns their parents, for example, and their guardians. So they are, the momentum is there for children's literature. It is becoming very trendy. And it's not anymore those illustrated, very simplistic stories that we are used to. They are very profound. They are very um, deep. They are very postmodern in their approaches. They came a long way. They have a long history, obviously, and this history is one of neglect and perhaps not having the right appeal. But over time, it is, like I said, it gained momentum, and now everybody is reading children's literature. Everybody is doing studies on children's literature. You yourself may find the subject very interesting, and you may take it to the next level. And the next thing you know is that you're doing your masters, your PhDs on children's literature. Yeah, this is what we're doing. This is how deep it will go. We'll talk about all those concerns, all those issues as we proceed. So in terms, I have just received the course calendar. I mean, 2 minutes before I walked into class, I received the course calendar or the updated course calendar from the GCC in Kuwait. But for some reason, the file does not open. So the first thing that I'm going to do, inshallah, after we finish this class is that I'm going to try to open the file and then share it with you, inshallah. But we don't normally change, I mean, the subjects, the textbook, the stories um, um, in the middle of the year. So I would like you to rest assured that it's not going to be different from the previous semester if you have done some reading, if you have made some preparations. Again, we normally have four um, works belonging to two different genres. We will have picture books, we'll have two picture books, and we will have two novels. The two picture books that we're having, one of them is obviously all over the place and is very familiar. Perhaps you have done it, it was read to you when you were young, and it's The Tale of Peter Rabbit. The other one is Voices in the Park. And these are the picture books, and then we move on to the novels. One novel is The Other Side of Truth, and the other one is Tom's Midnight Garden, a very engaging piece of work. So these are um, the primary sources, if you like. And of course, we have lots of secondary material on them, discussing them, addressing the issues that they uh, talk about. So if the textbooks, I'm sorry, if the novels and the pictures books are not so many, I promise you that the secondary sources are so many, and you'll have to go through them so that you can have deeper insights into what they mean and what they stand for. Hopefully, you'll find the works themselves very interesting. And then when you read the secondary sources, those secondary sources would be also as engaging because they tackle issues that we may see when we read the work perhaps for the first time. And my advice, as always, would be that you don't read an article, you don't read a secondary source unless you have read the text itself, unless you have read the work itself. Again, for obvious reasons, because if you read the secondary source before you read the story or the novel or the picture book, obviously you're going to get influenced by whatever the writer of the article is saying. And this is obviously, um, you'll, uh, this is foregoing the pleasure of discovering for yourself what a story means, the hidden meaning of something, the subtleties of something. This is all missed if uh, and spoiled, of course, if I myself come and explain things from the story to you, or if you read a secondary source without you reading the text itself for the story. So uh, I'll try, and I don't know how we can do that. I'll try today not to tell you what the stories are about or what the stories are, so that I don't spoil them for you. And obviously, this is spoiling the pleasure that you take away. One very important thing would be that I don't want you to approach the course with this idea of we want to study very hard so that we can get high marks and full stop. No, I would like you to also enjoy the experience, to read the stories, and to engage with the picture books and try to decipher and analyze them in your own way. This is part of the pleasure that you will take away with you. Again, there is more to the course than just the grades. And I promise you, your grades are fine. You're safe with me. But you don't have to worry about that. But you need to also work. You need to study very well. And inshallah, again, it's going to be a very informative, a very enjoying course. I've been teaching it for quite some time. And every time I teach it as if I'm teaching it for the first time. Again, because of the pleasure that I normally have. And we normally share this pleasure. I mean, me and you as students. Again, we're starting with some kind of background about the children's literature and how children's literature started. And again, I said that it was not taken very seriously at the beginning. Um, and this is shown in the amount of money invested in producing, a children's literature book with novels, for example, stories. They were not as were not taken seriously in the sense that people were perhaps more interested in novels and other genres that address mature readers. And again, I think it's something that children have been suffering from all through. I mean, down through the age. The fact that they are not taking very seriously. We still think that they cannot think for themselves. They They need to be taken care of. They don't have independent minds and everything in between. Obviously, this also was taken to the field of literature and the field of culture and ideas, where children assume very little. And it's not because they didn't try, it's because we didn't allow them to try. Otherwise, we could have seen very beautiful things. I didn't hear of a novelist or a storyteller who is like 10 or 8 or even 15. Uh, does it mean that they don't have the talent? No, they do, I promise you. But we as adults never gave them the opportunity. Anyway, we're focused on children's literature written by adults like ourselves. Again, at the beginning, we're talking about attempts that started all the way back in the perhaps the 15th or the 16th century. And you can imagine how unprofessional the look was. You can imagine how scattered the piece was. Again, because investing money on that wouldn't pay dividends, if you like. If I invest money, I would not have return on that kind of money as a publisher. So that's why it only came to its own in the industry of children's literature came to its own only in the 19th century, perhaps with the Victorians, when this was part of a huge wave, literacy wave. Remember when Queen Victoria came, she started to push the parliament to issue or to set a new or a number of new laws geared towards educating the British public. And they came up with a number of acts promoting education. So you now have people who are both educated, literate, and they also have the money. Remember, the British Empire became so big and so expansive, and obviously, when they go overseas, they normally have come back with money, and England and the British Empire and the people in Britain became um, they now have money, so you can afford to buy a book, and you also have the means, and you have the leisure and the time to read. So all this combined and contribute towards having readership for children literature and also for non-children's literature. And then we have a number of waves with the children's literature where again it started to be assessed and appreciated, and then it started to have phases. Phase one, early 20th century, and then immediately before the First World War, and then we talk about the period between the two world wars, and then post Second World War. And will the picture books that we will have will kind of chronicle those periods, and you're going to find us referring back to those time periods, especially with Tom's Midnight Garden, which is partly built on the frustrations that British people felt after the Second World War. Obviously, they were promised the world. Their politicians promised them that there is going to be welfare and everybody's going to be happy, jobs, money, and everything. And of course, how devastated and how bad the economy was after the Second World War. I'm talking about England and Britain. So part of the inspiration for Tom's Midnight Garden comes from the fact that people were very frustrated after the Second World War. Again, Voices in the Park addresses this idea of class gaps, the fact that you have class, what we call class fixity. Class fixity means that there is no social mobility. If you're poor, you're doomed to stay poor. If you're were born into an affluent and rich family, you are there. Though, so there were class conflicts, and those class conflicts never end. And Voices in the Park actually gives voice to just that, the idea of class conflicts, the idea that um, members of the different classes do not reach out to each other. It is true that the young generation is trying to bridge this gap by reaching out, as we're going to see it with the character of Smudge. Uh, Charles, who happens to be a child from a high class. So the attempts are there, but normally they don't. They are not met with a very big measure of success. So these are some of the ideas that those picture books address. So, like I said, we have four texts and four works that we're dealing with. Two of them belong to one genre, which is the genre of picture books, and the other or belong to another genre, which is uh, the genre of novels. We're too familiar with, I assume, with the genre of novels. We know what a novel is. We have expectations. You normally have characters. You have a plot. You have a conflict. You have point of view, right? You have themes and ideas thrown out across the novel. These are too familiar with us because we've been doing novels for quite some time. What we're not familiar with would be the genre of picture books. So these are books. We know what a book is, but if I say picture book, this is obviously new, or at least new because we haven't done that before in our previous years here as English major students. We're familiar with those traditional genres, novels, plays, poems, right? Essays, but not picture books. We're doing picture books for perhaps the first time in those lovely 4 years that we spent uh, here. So, which means that we may take some time to get ourselves familiar with them. And if I say picture book, um, um, so you rightly assume that there is going to be focus perhaps on the picture. It's not, so if I say, for example, book, you know that it's something that you read, right? But if I say picture book, it means that together with whatever I'm going to read, there is going to be pictures. And the pictures, because they are part of the genre that we now call picture book, are and should be taken very seriously. To the extent that we're going to venture and say that you will not be able to fully analyze and fully appreciate the picture book unless you invest the right amount of time looking at the accompanying pictures. So you normally have a book. On one page you have the text, the words, and on the other you will have the picture. So reading the text and ignoring or overlooking the picture would be a big mistake, because again, picture books are all about uh, the picture and how important the picture is. And it is, I'm telling you, very important. And obviously, because the genre itself and its importance rests on the picture, some scholars started to come up with codes for the pictures. So the pictures for them would mean something if certain colors are used, if certain fonts are used, if the characters are drawn up front or in the background, if the characters are drawn big or small. So those are codes that we're going to also study and talk about and then implement in the picture books that we will have. So again, we're learning something very interesting. So we're going to learn those symbols, those codes, and then we try to implement them and see them reflected in the picture books that we're doing. Um, Remember in previous courses, the background of the age, whether it's cultural or socioeconomic, was very important. We're going to also implement the self-same strategy where we need to also know about the background to the picture book or the novel that we're doing. Um, so what kind of forces were at play, economic, social, that perhaps shaped the consciousness of the character, the author or the writer, and made him or her write what she or he wrote. We're talking about two primary periods. We're talking about modernity and the modern times, and we're talking about the postmodern. Um, if I talk about modernity and the modern times, I'm talking about early 20th century, for example. If I talk about the postmodern era, I would talk about perhaps after the 50s of the 20th century. So it's modern literature that we're doing, and we're also doing postmodern. Um, Again, the focus would be on, for the most part, on the techniques used. Um, the idea of time and how time is both linear. Linear means it moves from the past to the present to the possibly the future, and also non-linear. And obvious non-linearity is a function of the postmodern. The postmodern and its literature is all about assaulting our traditional sensitivities, challenging what we already know. Uh, the postmodern is about, you know, challenging traditional forms of expression. So, if novels like what we're familiar with novels from our previous semesters, where the idea of linearity is very important. You see the trajectory of the novel. It moves from the past to the present to the future. And this is what we have done all through. But this time around, when you read a picture book, for example, like Voices in the Park, you don't have this idea of linearity. When you read Tom's Midnight Garden, and where obviously um, you have two types of time or two kinds of time, linear time and non-linear time, and they go back parallel in the novel, you feel that something is out of place. Again, because you're not familiar you're not too familiar, and your eyes are not too trained to see non-linearity. You're familiar with time moving forward. And when we read Tom's Midnight Garden, we have this idea of the dream, where obviously you live in a dream-like kind of reality where you have to suspend your disbelief. You have to say, yeah, I know that this is not happening in reality, in real life, but um, this consciousness, this awareness can spoil the whole thing. So I might as well suspend it and stop believing that this is not happening. No, I'm going to try to convince myself that this is happening, that there is a magic garden, and that I can travel back in time and go to the Victorian age, for example, and see people from that time. So, one very important point would be to suspend your disbelief. Again, this cannot be possible unless it's the postmodern times where obviously traditional forms take a back seat. They are not normally considered. Again, because life is so complicated nowadays, and this, I mean, let's look at people, for example. When you meet somebody, you're traveling somewhere, and in transportation, you're meeting somebody. So you don't see the whole trajectory of his life, when he or she was born, and then when he developed, and and when he or she will die. You only see a moment or a point in time. This is what postmodern literature is focusing on, this point in time, which is not, it's only present. You don't know about the past, and you don't know about the future of that person even. So we die to each other if we see each other once. So you look at this point in time in its totality, and this is something that we're going to perhaps expand on and talk more about as we proceed. So if you have any questions so far. No questions, huh? Yeah, go ahead.
No, no, no. I say no, no. It is understandable so far.
Test. Anybody else? Okay, طيب ممتاز جدا. So I would like us to start with a reading. I'm going to ask you to read something on your own. Always discuss it. Um, and you're going to find it a good read. It's going to provide you with the necessary background about what children's literature is, and how it develops, and the different patterns that gets repeated as we proceed. Um, give me a minute. Let me look. So this is the file, or this is the article that I would like you to read. Um, I have, can you see that? The article is called The Same But Different: Conservatism and Revolution in Children's Fiction by Peter Hunt. Can you see that?
Yes, doctor.
Okay.
It is
Uh, this
obvious.
is this is a good read. It's something that you're going to enjoy because it gives you perspectives into what children's literature is all about. Again, it's from a critical viewpoint. Peter Hunt is trying to say, yeah, it may be different, but it is at the same time similar. He's looking and he's exploring patterns that get repeated, and he talks about the different phases of children's literature. It's a good read, and I would like you to read it, and we can always discuss it in uh, the master class. I happen to be the course coordinator, so part of my role is to give you a master class every week. We're going to skip the master class this week, and we're going to start and as of next week. It's normally on Thursday, and it's normally at 8 a.m. Then we need to agree on whether the time is appropriate and convenient for all of us or not. But do you think 8 a.m. On Thursday is convenient for everyone?
Unfortunately, not for
Mm,
me.
yeah, yeah, because I want people to
It's too
attend.
early.
Yeah, too early for my taste at least. So how about if we do it when? We can do it on Wednesday, and it can be late. It can be perhaps on Wednesday at 4. How about that?
I think this one is يعني more suitable than
Mm,
AM.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
yeah,
that suits me too.
Yes, doctor, I have a question.
yeah.
Isn't the master class for 300A gonna be on Wednesday at 4? I
I
think it
don't
was
know.
like that last
I,
term.
I don't know. You need to we need to. That's why we're tossing it. I mean, I'm telling you about it, and you agree, or you tell me that perhaps we have a class coinciding. So what Joyce is saying that you guys may have those who are doing A to 30A. I'm sorry, EA300A have a class. But do we have people who have EA300A also?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and the problem is that I'm talking to you as if you are the only class that I have for a master class. Obviously, I have the 3 classes for the master class. I need to check with them. But let's stay away from Wednesday at 4. How about Thursday at 2?
I also think this
Mm,
timing is suitable for me at least.
mm,
I have a class at
mm,
Thursday
Also,
at
mm,
1 p.m., so I can't.
mm. Right. Um, But how about it if we tweak the timing a little bit on Thursday, and instead of having it at 8, we can have it at 10 a.m.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine by me.
yeah,
yeah,
that's fine with me.
yeah. Right. I'm hopeful that other people wouldn't have a coinciding class, but let's hope, Yani, that
Well, I have
mm,
at 11
11.
the
Right.
meetings for my training. Yeah,
You have what, yeah, Wissam?
um, my
Have a
meetings
meeting?
for the training. Yeah,
Okay. طب if we make it 9, would 9 be more suitable, more sociable?
yes,
9 to 11, everyone. Mm.
yes, doctor.
Nice.
Doctor, don't you think everything is gonna be more clearer يعني after inshallah next week, for example?
I don't know because I need to meet you next week, right?
I know يعني
Mm,
قصدي في المحاضرة
mm.
الأساسية القادمة، لأنه حتى الدكاترة في المواد اللي أنا آخذها كل شوي يغيروا الأوقات.
لا
This
هو
is
في
why
حد
I'm
يقدر
answering you with
يغير وقته. I don't believe they can if it's if you have a set schedule.
no. One
Mm,
of the
mm,
professors that I take a course with
mm,
did that. So
mm.
يعني this is why I'm speaking with you يعني with
Yes.
reluctance because I don't
Yes.
know.
طيب let's agree in principle من ناحية المبدأ that it's going to be on Thursday at 9. We still have time. We said that we're not meeting this week. We're meeting the week after. So until then, I think we can come to like يعني an agreement next week on Monday. How about that?
Sure thing, Doctor.
طيب ممتاز. طيب let's go back to the article that I was talking about. I said this is a good read and I would encourage you to read it. You're going to enjoy it, inshallah. Again, it's going to
دكتور
give you, yeah, go ahead.
أنا أعتذر على المقاطعة
That's
or
fine.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I need to excuse myself. I have something very urgent at university,
That's fine.
and they asked me to go now, and يعني بحرص إني أشوف المحاضرة المسجلة يعني.
That's fine. That's fine. No problem. Before you leave, if you can spare 5 minutes, yeah, hint. I'm going to be uploading all our classes, whether they are the master classes or the regular classes,
On OneDrive.
On YouTube, because it's. Let me share with you. This is my channel. I think you're familiar with it.
Yes.
Okay. So you go there and you go to the playlist, and we have stuff already, and you can also benefit from it. You have the EA300B master classes,
Sure.
and there are so many. You don't have to wait for me if you would like to also understand stuff. I mean the previous semester, like I said, we didn't change nothing. So you can always start. This is for the, like I said, this is for the master classes, and you also have part of the playlist. You also have EA300, the regular classes. Where is that? It's somewhere here. I don't know. This is the one. And again, you will have so many. Where are they? I don't know. Yes, it's here. It should be here. I mean, طيب, let me share very quickly the what? The link. Let me
Okay.
put it, yeah, and where is chat? Yeah, and here is the link. And again, you can always start. You'll find all the videos of the previous. And of course, I normally upload the lecture like an hour or two after we finish from here. خلاص, you can go يا هند.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
You're welcome. Okay. So, like I said, you're going to read the article. You're going to enjoy it. I would like to also share with you. We have the textbook. Where is that? So primary sources for the first part, at least before the midterm, you would have the tale of Peter Rabbit. So this is the textbook. Can you see that? Am I still sharing or what?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes,
You
we
can
can
see
see.
it.
Yeah, very good. Again, it's you will have to read it. Like I said, I don't want to spoil it for you by telling you what the story is all about. Again, you may know the story already because it's all over the place. But obviously, it's not about the story and full stop. It's also about the pictures involved and how you can kind of allow the pictures to inform the reading experience. Again, the pictures are very important and they are as important as the words themselves. So this is what you're going to also do for next time. So you're going to read the article by Peter Hunt, and you're going to also read the picture book, this one, the one that I am opening, and you're going to try to take down notes. Okay. Um, I don't know. I wanted to talk about some critical issues, talk deep about it, but I don't want to spoil it. How can I talk about it if you haven't read? And I'm not blaming you here. I know this is our first class, but I don't want to be so enthusiastic and spoil the whole experience for you. Um, right, let me think of something. Let me think of how we can approach that. I'll give you 10 minutes, a 10-minute break, and then when we come back, let's see how we're going to handle that. Me talking about things without spoiling the picture book or the plot for you. I'll meet you in 10 minutes, inshallah. Okay?
Sure, doctor.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll see you in 10 minutes, inshallah. إن شاء الله الله يكرمك. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, doctor. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So are we all here? Can you raise your hands, everyone? Okay. So before I forget, can we create a WhatsApp group for our uh, class?
Sure, doctor. Yalla, I'll create it and add you.
Right. So Joyce is going to create it. Can we ask you to create it now so that you can give them the link? I mean, while talking, and
Sure,
try to,
sure,
yeah,
doctor.
so that you can put the link here, the WhatsApp group link here
Definitely.
in the
Yalla.
chat area. Yes. Okay. Right. Okay. So Ahlam, can I ask you to drop your hand, معلش? Okay. So where are we and where are we headed? Again, it's Children's Literature 2. It's EA300B. A very engaging course, like I said. I'm going to share with you the calendar, but not the weeks, because the calendar that I'm going to use now to show you the sources, I mean, whether they are primary or secondary sources. The content is the same, but the dates are different because I'm using the calendar of the summer until I open the file, the calendar file that I have received this morning. So let's explore what we have ahead. Let me share the calendar and let me remind you that I'm focused on the content rather than on the weeks and how the content will be taught. But I'll follow that inshallah when we finish from here with the correct calendar. So this is what we're doing. This is obviously week 1 where there should be an introduction. This is what I have been doing over the past hour. I was giving you some kind of introduction to the course. And again, the introduction and a dash extra. And then we move on to the next week, inshallah, where I'm going to start talking about the first picture book, which is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And I'll also introduce some of the critical essays. I might not go through them with you because this is part of what you do. I may refer to them, I may talk about them in general terms, but you need to read them through on your own. So starting to look at images in children's books, this is what you're going to do, and you're going to read an introduction to this section by Sharon Goodman. And I have the articles and I'll show them to you in a minute. And then after that, perhaps the week after, we're going to look at certain aspects of picture books, a classic in words and pictures, The Tale of Peter Rabbit, and we'll have a number of critical essays. One of them is by William Mobbs, Picture Book Codes. And then we'll have a number of articles. One of them is Sharon Goodman's Introduction to the Tale of Peter Rabbit. Margaret Mackay's Peter Rabbit, Potter's Story, Peter Holland, Aesop and the Shadows, Carol Scott, Perspective and Point of View in the Tale of Peter Rabbit. And of course, while doing that, we're discussing the text itself, we're reading the text, we're exploring its different aspects, and we try to kind of have the articles that we read inform the discussion and inform our understanding of the text itself. And then we move on after that in the weeks ahead to the second picture book, which is Voices in the Park by Anthony Brown. Alongside with reading and exploring the text, we'll have a good one, and it's Postmodern Experiments by Pete Goldstone. Let me alert you to the fact that we are in the area of the postmodern when we come to Voices in the Park, because Voices in the Park is a postmodern piece of work. So again, when we talk about postmodernity, when we talk about postmodernism in literature, we talk about the idea of intertextuality, تداخل النصوص or التناص, and play. By play, we don't mean physical play. Play here means playing with the words. It means challenging how words are written, challenging the whole textual atmosphere, if you like. So this is what we mean by play. It's like playing games with the words and the text, changing things, defying expectations and everything in between. So this all comes with Voices in the Park. And then we move on and we will have again a different text. And this is, a little earlier before we go to the midterm exam, where we will be doing The Other Side of Truth by Beverly Naidoo. Again, along with exploring the novel. This is a novel. We'll do a number of critical essays. One of them would be Anne Haugen's and Nicole Watson introduction. And then we have Beverly Naidoo herself writing an article, and it's called A Writer's Journey, retracing the other side of truth. And then we have Jana Giles, What is the Other Side of Truth? This area, when it comes to novels, which is obviously the second part of the course, this area focuses on children's fiction as, a socially committed kind of genre. And then we move on to the last part where we have Tom's Midnight Garden by Philippa Pierce. And this is more about the importance of the real and the power of the fantastic. We're going to do a number of articles. We're going to start with Heather Montgomery's introduction, and then Ronnie Natov's Tom's Midnight Garden, and Maria Nikoleva and Leva's Midnight Gardens, Magic Wells. And then we have Ruston's Loneliness, Dreaming, and Discovery in Tom's Midnight Gardens. And that would conclude the course. This is what we're doing. And again, it may not seem much, but it is much in terms of concepts and in terms of ideas that we need to develop and expand on. Right, let me show a very important kind of folder that I have, and actually it's a number of folders. Folder for stuff that we have before the midterm, and this is what I call pre-midterm material, and things that or material that we have post MTA or post midterm. So we have the first picture book where, as you can see, we have the primary source, and obviously the primary source would be the tale of Peter Rabbit itself. And you will have that if you don't have it already. And then we move back to the secondary sources, and these are the secondary sources that we have on the tale of Peter Rabbit. We have you normally have all of them in one in, in the book, and you have a long book that is an anthology or that has a number of it. I think I have them separated here. I can give you that. I separated them, as you can see, into smaller chunks, but of course you can always have them in the collection of essays that we have in the book that I'm going to refer to. So this is again the folder of the Tale of Peter Rabbit. And these are the essays, like I said. Then we move on to the second picture book, which is Voices in the Park. Again, you will have the primary source, which is the picture book itself, Voices in the Park. And then after that, we will have the secondary sources, and these are the secondary sources: Postmodern Experiments by Pete Goldstone. And again, you have a file on analysis and a file on the whole thing. And then we move on to postmodern, I'm sorry, post MTA. Actually, Naidu's novel is not post MTA because it's part of the midterm exam. Anyway, we will have the text itself. As these are the articles on and about the other side of truth. And then a number of other articles as we have seen on the calendar. And then we have post MTA. As you can see, we have a number of articles, and we also have a copy of the novel itself. And this is the novel, Tom's Midnight Garden. We have the novel as a primary source, and then we have a number of secondary sources. Again, these are for the most part about Tom's Midnight Garden. Okay. This is it. Let's go from here. Let me tell you that we also have a number of shorts here about some of the novels. I think I have something on Tom's Midnight Garden, very interesting one. And I also have something on Tom Tom's Midnight God and Voices in the Park. When we come to it, you're going to find it very interesting. Let's move all the way back to you. So do you have any questions so far?
No, doctor, all clear.
Okay,
No,
good.
doctor.
Okay.
Thank
طيب,
you, doctor. No.
I'll stop on this note and with this item, and as of next week, we will seriously start the course. What do I need from you for next time? I need you to read the primary source, and the primary source is the text itself, the picture book, which is The Tale of Peter Rabbit. If you don't have it, I can always share it on the WhatsApp group that Joyce has created. And I would like you to also read Peter Hunt's article on how different and how similar children's books are. Make sure you read
Okay.
them so that your reading of the article will inform the discussion, inshallah.
Inshallah. Please, doctor, share this one with the group.
Inshallah. Yeah, Joyce, did you create the WhatsApp group?
Yes, doctor, I created it
Yes,
and
yes.
shared the link here and also in the other WhatsApp group as well.
Right. You shared it. Did you pick this up? I mean the link, يا جماعة. We don't want to leave anybody, one behind. And make sure you join the group because I'm going to be sharing the material on it. Again, I'll be sharing also a link to the recording as soon as I uploaded it or upload it. So until then, I wish you all the best. Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
وعليكم السلام. شكرا, doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome, Mas.
Thank you, doctor.
Welcome.